Shabbat Shalom. This week, in addition to being Parshat Tzav, is also Shabbat Hagadol, the Great Shabbat, the Shabbat immediately preceding the holiday of Passover. There's probably a tendency during this Shabbat to overlook the weekly portion in favor of talking about Shabbat Hagadol. After all, traditionally, Shabbat Hagadol was one of 3 times during the year that the rabbi gave a really big sermon. I know, imagine that. But I want to talk about Parshat Tzav, because at the very beginning of this week's Torah portion, we read a beautiful piece of text that we might overlook, just basically saying that it's just another part of the long list of sacrifices that we can't relate to in a modern time. The text tells us, Eish hamizbeach tukad bo. The fire of the altar always burned, not on it, but within it. Now think about that for a second. There were burnt offerings that were given in the morning and in the evening. And there would be a fire that would burn on the altar all the time, so it would be ready to use. But you might think it was on the altar, not burning within. The commentators immediately pick up on this, but I think the most beautiful comment that we read to this puzzling choice of words is given by the Sfat Emet, the Ger Rebbe, who says the whole purpose of having that fire there is not so that the sacrifices will be able to be done at any time, but rather to understand that the fire that burns within the altar must be a fire that burns within each and every one of us. The Ger Rebbe goes on, if that fire burns within us, then we'll want to do chesed, we'll want to do acts of tzedakah, of charity, of loving kindness, of goodness in the world to do our part to make the world a better place. If it doesn't, he said, woe is unto the world. So here's to all of us trying to find a way as we get ready for Pesach, as we read another Torah portion about sacrifices, to make sure that that little fire burns within each and every one of us. Shabbat Shalom.